Hey, good to see you. Uh, yeah, so this morning I thought I'd talk a little bit about what I've called the urge to action. Um, so really important in the spiritual life, our actions bear a sort of karmic weight. But what causes us to act? So I want to look a little bit at that what's often talked about as volition or intention. So that urge to action. And it's not the same as thought, though it can feel like we are being driven by our thoughts. Um, but what happens then is I think that a thought and an action are um, they've become a bit merged, or they're arising at the same time, and the thought is more obvious. So that's what we notice. And we can have I can have the thought now, which thoughts expressed in words. So I can say I'm going to stand up now. I can say it, I can think it, but it doesn't happen unless there's also an intention to do so. Um, intentions can feel quite physical, or like a sort of mental or physical energy. So an urge in the body mind, a feeling that something's been decided or something's about to happen. So this kind of energy gathering around something that's going to propel us to act. And that action can be really, really simple. It might just be moving a limb, or blinking, or taking a stronger in-breath. So most of our actions are intentional, that they're not all intentional. Some of our thoughts are not intentional, as we explored a couple of weeks ago. Um, So we can become aware. It's quite subtle. Volition, intention is quite aware. Sorry, it's quite subtle, but we can become aware of them. And often, if we don't have awareness, these things are just happening anyway. We move in meditation, and without having consciously decided to, we've missed the intention that's just happened anyway. That urge to move, maybe there's a tiny bit of discomfort, and then we move. So it's a subtle inner drive that initiates action. That's how you can see intention. And they'll arise, intentions come, but they also pass. They're very momentary. And if it's sometimes it's, say, just taking the example of moving in meditation, um, it might be that intention arises, passes, and you don't move. But it comes back, it arises again, it arises, it maybe on the basis of discomfort in the body. So that intention keeps arising. And before we know it, we've moved. So that's not necessarily a bad thing or something that we shouldn't do, but it's helpful to watch that process in awareness, to get a sense of agency or around those choices that we make, to move, to speak, to hold back, to be silent, because they all have karmic consequences, our actions of doing and non-doing. So Bante talks about three things being almost synonymous, and I'm not going to go into them. It's quite a well-known comment of his. He talks about Chaitana, which is will, karma, action, and Sankara, which is what we're talking about really this morning, volition. They're pretty much synonymous. They're almost synonymous. So I think you can think of intention, and volition also as that will to action. and the action itself, as well as that drive to it. So the role of craving is quite important here. Um, they're not the same, if you like, the that wanting energy, that craving energy, but they are linked, in that craving is often what motivates a particular type of volitional activity. So it might be that the wanting arises in the mind, and then that urge to follow through on it. You can notice that impulse, or that, oh, actually, somewhere it's been decided I'm going to have ice cream today, even though I said I wouldn't. I was just going to be really strict with myself this week. Whatever it is, we can sort of think that we've made a decision, and then that impulse arises, we follow it or we don't follow it. Yeah, so watching, if you're familiar with noticing the mind, that wanting mind and craving mind, then it can be an extra step, and a really interesting step, to notice that intention that drives the action, or drives the impulse to act on that craving. Um, so it's quite a physical sort of uh, physical process in awareness, but it's actually a mental process. It's, if you're familiar with nama rupa, the rupa being form and nama being the mental processes, is part of nama, mind. But yeah, it can be felt in different ways, but quite subtle. So you may or may not notice it, or you may be familiar with noticing it. When I first recognized volition happening, or intention happening in the mind, I thought, oh, this is really, really familiar. It's just that I haven't really seen it in awareness before. It's been there, but one of those unnoticed things, or unrecognized for what it is. So observe it in experience if you can, but it's helpful. Just don't look too hard. It's something that's very sort of shy, and if we go chasing uh, intention, volition, then the how we're looking is too strong. It sort of knocks things out of the way. If we just need to be very receptive, very open to this little bit mysterious thing, but that a thing that has very big consequences, just in terms of our choices and our actions. So sitting and perhaps recognizing the impulse to move in meditation is a good one. If there's some sort of slight discomfort in the body, obviously if something's strong and you need to move, then you move. You can still perhaps notice the intention beforehand. Itches, or just, there's a bit of hair in your face or something, just all those kind of things that are really ordinary in experience. We can notice that intention that comes before the movement, sometimes comes synonymous with the movement, or the thought about the movement, or the image in the mind. It's really about, is there a moment when it's possible just to stay with the process, rather than uh, automatically acting in the usual ways, even if those usual ways are sort of quite innocent, and feel karmically relatively neutral. It's still an opportunity to notice one of the mental processes of the skandhas, if you like, from their own side, not from being sort of enmeshed with it and acting out of that urge or that drive. Okay, I hope you'll get a sense of it in the meditation, if you're not particularly familiar with it. Otherwise, yeah, it is quite a subtle thing. but as I say, interesting. So if you'd like to set yourselves up to sit,